welcome or welcome back. I want to give you some really practical tips today on how to avoid declutter burnout. This is something I'm very familiar with because when I set about decluttering 85% of our family stuff, I burned out really badly. And I've learned some things that along the way just have really been helpful with decluttering, and I think burnout is just so real. We can all relate. So today I want to give you some really practical and simple ways that you can both avoid decluttering burnout, and then if you're in burnout right now, I have some ways to help you kind of move past it. So thank you so much for being here. Let's hop right in. All right, think about your home in terms of mini projects. Don't think about entire rooms. This can be so overwhelming and it can just stop you from even beginning, just because an entire room, if you haven't decluttered it yet, is absolutely full of things that you have to make decisions about, and that is so hard. So this is kind of a mental game, but what I suggest doing is breaking things down into smaller projects. So instead of saying I have to declutter my whole master bedroom, which includes obviously the closet, say I'm going to declutter the dresser, the nightstand, underneath the bed, the top shelf of the closet, just the clothes in my closet. So you're going to actually break things down into more manageable tasks, and this really helps when you're facing decluttering. And then it's just nice when you get into these projects when you're able to finish them quickly. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, I've decluttered for days or whatever and I still haven't decluttered my room, you can say, wow, oh my gosh, I decluttered that entire dresser in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And that really gives you satisfaction and motivates you to move on. So there are many reasons why I suggest breaking things into much smaller projects instead of thinking of them in entire rooms. You can always find an excuse to keep something. I mean, it's like the what if game. We play with ourselves. What if a million things? What if I host a dinner? What if my friend brings her baby over? The lists of what ifs are eternal. They go on and on. So one thing that I recommend doing is making decisions quickly. If you can avoid stewing over each individual item for a long period of time, it will move your project along. It will move you along. You keep your momentum, and it's just really helpful to avoid burnout because you're able to make quicker progress and you're not using so much mental energy to declutter. If I pick up a shirt and think of 10 different places where I could see myself potentially wearing this shirt in the next 5 years, I will burn out. I will burn myself out. And then of course I'll talk myself into keeping it. The longer you let yourself think about an item, the easier it is to talk yourself into it. So try and make these decisions in 5 seconds or less. And instead of looking for ways that you could potentially use this item in the future, ask yourself how it has served you in the last 6 months. If it really hasn't served you at all or hasn't served you well, get rid of it. That is easy. Get it out of your life. You are either serving your items or they are serving you. If this is an item that you're a slave to, it is an automatic no matter how much you spent on it, who gave it to you, and how many million ways you can think of to make it useful in the future. If you are either having a hard time getting started or you're having a hard time finishing a project, set a deadline. And I don't mean just write it in your calendar and say, be done decluttering today, but actually call and make an appointment to do a drop-off at a donation center. Host a neighborhood swap where you are allowed to take away as many things as you bring. Have a garage sale in 2 to 3 weeks. Advertise it on Facebook. Put flyers out around your neighborhood and let people know that you will have your stuff available for them in 2 to 3 weeks. These deadlines are so helpful, especially if we need that push just to either get started or finish a project. So it's really nice to set these deadlines. Make these appointments and commitments, and I think you're going to be so much more likely to follow through. So I talked earlier about breaking your home down into smaller, manageable chunks or manageable projects instead of saying an entire room, say these small components of the room. I also recommend only doing this in groups of 3. So I love lists. I write lists all the time. I think they're really helpful to stay focused. So write them in groups of 3. So whether you have your entire house to declutter or if you're in the middle or towards the end, it doesn't matter. But try and focus on 3 things. And not that you're going to focus on them all at once, but you're going to know I'm going to do the pantry, and then I'm going to do the closet, and then I'm going to do the piano bench in no particular order. Do what you feel like. If you feel like the closet is just so overwhelming today, do the piano bench. And I have another tip that really goes along with that in just a second, but just break it down into groups of 3. If you write every single room and every single area, every single corner and potential project in your house, you're going to potentially be looking at a list of like 30 areas. That in and of itself is overwhelming and can burn you out before you even start. So do this in chunks of 3. So 3, check, 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 your next 3. And then you're not gonna move on until those 3 are totally complete. That leads me perfectly into my next tip, which can be avoiding decluttering too much in the same room. The kitchen is an example. You have underneath the kitchen sink, the pantry, all the cupboards, which is a lot, the counter spaces, and then if your kitchen is attached to the dining room, you might also include that. So the kitchen could end up taking you a while, and it can really burn you out to be in the kitchen decluttering so much stuff. So what I recommend doing is decluttering different areas of your home. So let's say your 3 projects, let's move on to a different clump of 3, would be pantry, the boys' closet in their bedroom, and underneath the bathroom sink. The nice thing about keeping them in separate rooms is it's just always this new space. You're not stuck in the bedroom, stuck in the bathroom for so long. You're actually moving around the spaces of your home, and it breaks things up. It helps you feel a little less claustrophobic, a little less overwhelmed, a little less stuck, whatever it could be. Just changing up the air and the space and the surroundings can be incredibly helpful. So one thing that is really easy to do is focus on a large chunk of decluttering time. So on Saturday, I'm gonna finally declutter. I'm gonna declutter for 3 hours because my husband's gonna be home. He can help me with the kids. And then you get into that project and it can be so overwhelming because of the amount of time you're spending. And then this turns into burnout, and then you just don't even want to do it again. Next Saturday, no way, I'm not decluttering. I'm giving myself a break because that was exhausting. So if you are worried about burning out, just do 5 to 10 minutes of decluttering per day. Let's say you have your little clump of 3, your 3 projects, and right now you are working on your master closet. So you're gonna go in there for 5 to 10 minutes and you are going to tackle whatever it is, the top shelf. The next day, you're going to go back to that specific area and you're going to declutter it. The next day, you're going to go back in there again and declutter. So you're going to keep going on into this specific space and you're going to declutter it until it is done. Now, don't worry, because although you're spending every day 5 to 10 minutes now in your closet because you've broken it down into a smaller chunk of time, your next project is going to be in the kitchen. So you're going to get out of the closet space altogether. But I think the main thing to do is to keep going back to this one area and declutter it until it's done. That is so important. If you start a project, if you start these little projects all around your house and you make little dents in them, although that is progress, any progress is a success. No matter how many items you deleted from that area or decluttered, it can make you feel more overwhelmed when you feel like, I have spent all this time in the closet and in the pantry and working under the bed, and there's still a mess. There's still so much to do. But if you get these wins, if you're able to check these boxes, it's really, really helpful. So stay in your closet until it's done before you move on to the next room of your house. But don't move on until that area is done. But try just doing it in small chunks of time to avoid burnout. Are you already burned out? Maybe you're watching this video because you are already burned out, and I feel you. I'm here for you. I have been there. So take a break. It's totally fine to take a break. I had to do this when I was on my decluttering journey, and honestly, the decluttering journey doesn't ever really end. It really does continue on, but when you're doing the initial purge of your space, which is the most work of all, trust me, it gets better, because maintenance is so much easier. But when you're doing this, sometimes you just have to take a break for your mental sanity, your physical sanity, and making these choices is emotionally taxing. So allow yourself to take a break. But I would say don't take any more than a month off of decluttering and really commit to coming back. So if you're taking an entire month off, mark it in your calendar. You're going to begin decluttering again on this day. Keep that appointment with yourself, and you can look forward to that time and take this time off and really enjoy it and rejuvenate and kind of recover from all of this decluttering, but don't fill your space back up. That is the trick. If you're going to take a break, don't spend this time shopping. Don't spend this time accumulating more stuff. I don't care if it's free. I don't care if you paid $1. It does not matter. It is more stuff for you now to have to manage and think about and make decisions on later. So that's the trick. Do not use this time to reaccumulate things, reaccumulate items. Your house might be feeling a little empty. You might have empty storage bins. Can you imagine? I mean, it's amazing when you get decluttered and you have these empty totes. You do not need to fill these back up. You can donate the totes or set them somewhere else for another day. Maybe you're moving soon. You can save them. You don't need to refill the totes. Empty spaces are what your home craves. And this empty space is also like mental space that you get back. So don't reaccumulate during this time, but give yourself a little break. If you are wanting to continue your momentum, but you're feeling really burned out, bring someone in to help you. This could be a friend, a relative, your spouse, or even one of your kids. And in fact, if someone else holds up an item, it is so much easier for you to let it go than when you touch it yourself. I don't know what it is with this like psychological component, but if you actually touch the item, you are more likely to keep it. Have you ever noticed when you're shopping, you touch stuff? I do this. I touch it, and when I touch it, I want it. I'm so much more likely to want the item if I touch it. I don't know what it is, why we do this, but I suggest getting someone to hold the items up for you. It will help you feel less attached and less connected to the item, and you'll be able to let go so much more easily. If you're burned out, but you're still wanting to keep your momentum, if all else fails, go around your house and collect all the trash. Keep opening drawers and looking under dressers, and keep decluttering until every piece of trash is out of your house. You can also fill a bag, black garbage bag, so you're not tempted to pull stuff back out. You can do a 21 item toss where you go through your house and you look for 21 items to get rid of, and this way you're just moving quickly, and you can even set the timer. I'm gonna get rid of 21 items in 10 minutes, so you know I'm just gonna do this really fast. You're gonna keep this momentum, and then you are done. You can also take a challenge. There are so many on Pinterest, and I have a couple here on my channel as well, decluttering challenges that kind of make it more fun, more exciting, and get you refocused and remotivated to declutter your space. Well, I hope today's video was super helpful. If it was, please click subscribe. I make videos like this every single week. It was lovely to have you here today. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.